morning. Thank you for joining me. We are on a little ride along. We're testing a live service here. I've gotten to a point where YouTube's letting me stream live from my mobile device. I've earned that, so we're doing a test today. Obviously, you know about the drone videos, and you know about jayhipsocean, and you know about drone tours, but you probably know about the weather today, so I'm taking a little bite for you on the road just to see what we're dealing with. So we are departing right now. My neighborhood in Ashland. And the roads don't look too bad. Approaching corner of Mountain Gate and Elliott Street, and it's pretty slick still for sure. I thought this would be a great time to take a look around town, as I do on weekend mornings. And another opportunity to test the live service. So if the live broadcast goes well, I think sky could be the limit. So this is the way I usually go here. Come out of my neighborhood, and again, about 9:50 here in the morning. My watch is a little fast. I keep my watch about 5 minutes fast. Some people digging out here. Again, we're on a little live ride-along tour. We are in Ashland, looking at the winter weather. We're testing a live broadcast. I've been newly offered through YouTube, so we can't fly today. Drone cannot go up. The weather is not allowing it, so we're going to try this form today. We're going on a little tour. I'm going to take you to downtown Ashland. We're going to see what's going on down there. So, if you haven't caught up yet, we've got the latest video is the inside the barn at the Valentine estate. Looks like we got a little wobble here. We're going to try to fix that. Okay. And that's kind of like a part 3, guys, to the Valentine estate. First time I was there, I was invited by Steve Mitchell to come down and do a little filming. This was 2021, at the almost end of the year in the summer. And then I had returned not too long ago and was invited back again by the town manager, Mr. Michael Herbert. And that is the footage on the third visit that is most recently posted on my channel, jayhipsocean. So definitely check out the barn. We flew the drone inside the barn. Pretty cool. So definitely check that out. So we're coming down, approaching downtown shortly, but quite a land bridge on the incline here. As we coming out of the Warren district here, and we're entering downtown, coming up on Kitty Fenwell, and one of the many paths I've crossed on jayhipsocean on my channel, Pout Rock location, right to my right as we cross over Cold Spring Brook. Not only are we doing covering the construction process in the town, but we're also pulling along the history, and that's kind of how it started. Pelt Rock was a big marker of the history that marked a crossing area, fording area, if you will, where the first settlers, pre-settlers, pelters, travelers, Native Americans were crossing together at the same place. Well, that was where it was. We just crossed that point, Pelt Rock, and Cold Spring Brook. And it's all pretty close if you think about it. So we're on our ride along here. We are through intersection. We're approaching the next intersection. We're checking out downtown. We're checking out the conditions, checking out the roads for you, taking you on a little ride along, telling you a little story as we go. So I think the broadcast is going pretty well so far. I don't know. We had a couple of kind of some vibration that was going on before, but I think we might have gotten that. So we are downtown here, just before the tracks. And still waiting to get some more finishes down here. It's like this light is brand new down here, right at Main Street, Wine and Spirits across the street here as we make our way down Main Street. Always wary of the tracks here. So we pass John Stone's pub. John Stone's public house was one of the first places where some of these settlers maybe would be stopping by, not at the time of Pelt Rock, of course, but later on, these public houses were some of the only areas you could get a warm bite to eat and maybe some lodging. It's a funny quote in the chapters of Moby Dick where they get to one of the public houses on Nantucket, and the gal that meets them at the door meets them with the phrase, "Clam or quahaug." So I always remember that. But anyhow, so we're headed down street here. We're going to be approaching the MBTA Ashland train station. We'll check that out, see what the conditions are. We know we got a lot of news with the MBTA lately. Some of the images, I think we saw some of the ceiling tiles that were coming down. Pretty scary stuff. MBTA seems like in a whole string of endless inquiries that they seem like they don't need any more bad press at this point, but geez, they sure have taken a hit, haven't they? So coming around just down near Ashland DPW, trying to get you on track with what I'm thinking about as I go through my process and trying to figure out what to film next. I go out do a little recon. I check out all the construction that is ongoing and going on, and try to find out where I'm kind of needed more, where there's more progress. So one of those places I wanted to see today, probably to see some more progress down at the Oak Tree at Mendez School. But we're just going to bang around here and maybe we'll turn around. right, we're thankful for Department of Public Works. That's where we're at right now. Folks. So, after the Valentine barn, looking back, it seems like there's been some attention on the mill building site, and it seems like folks have been going back and watching that video, or maybe rewatching that video. So when I do get some more information, updates on that project, I'll definitely let you know. It does seem like it is still pretty far out, even though they've got everything they put together for that plan. There's still a lot of things that have to happen. So I'll always keep you posted when I get some news on these projects. So we're coming back towards downtown. Just gonna yielding for some snow removal vehicles. Beautiful. Looks like they're getting this church plowed out up here. So live ride along today, looking at the roads, testing the streaming service on YouTube Live here. New amenity that YouTube is offering me at this point that I'm at with membership that we have with this channel. It's doing good, so I hope to bring more live videos like this when I can. It was something that was just added to my YouTube capability and the platform, so I can't wait to see what the future brings with that. So we are driving down, we are coming up on Main Street. Passing the mill building. And the construction here that has gone up, condos on the top, some physical therapy down below. How far out it's come is beyond me, beyond us, but there you go. So if you haven't checked out the music, I have a new song out. I played 3 just over this past week on J-Hip Music. If you haven't seen the new one, definitely check that out. It'll be isolated into a little reel. I'm gonna make one of those over the weekend for that song. Describes a wolf in sheep's clothing. So if you're familiar with that, definitely check out the second song of that live broadcast on J-Hip Music. The first song's brand new. It's about town. I recently wrote that over the past few weeks. And the last song I played there was Stowe Road, and that's been out since about November. So I hope to get that on to Spotify and iTunes shortly after I have more time to get some more recording done, some real recording, not just recording around with a PC mic and so on and so forth, but more of a studio recording. That's what I'm looking for. Alright, so we're on the ride along here. We're driving around Ashland today. It is Saturday morning, 5 past 10. Watch is fast, so that's about 10 o'clock. Testing the live broadcast service with YouTube mobile. We have merged onto Chestnut Street. And if you recall, this used to be able to pull over here and do a little recreating, but I think it got to be a little out of hand. Folks around here had enough, and that went away. But for the record, this was the first time I went ice fishing ever. It was on Ashland Reservoir, down there with the copperthorns. One snowy day. It wasn't as warm and wet as it is today, but we threw all our ice traps and gear onto a toboggan sled and we towed it down there. And we had a fire on the ice that day on Ashland Reservoir. It was great. I'll never forget that day. So thank you BJ, and thank you to the copperthorns. So we are passing the Warren Center as we have Elliott Street flanked to our left, 22 Elliott Street, watching over. We've got the silo at Chestnut Street, the barn, getting a little slick down here along these areas. This is where it starts to get a little rural. Roads start to wind a little bit. You get a lot of snow that's coming across the fields. So again, we're just doing a live broadcast here of the roads in Ashland, Massachusetts. Can't fly the drone today, so we're taking you on a live ride along. And now we'll take you down to another locale here. Hopefully we can get back up this road. Little adventure. So I first started coming down to Ashland Reservoir probably the first time I was ice fishing here as just a young thing, but I started really recreating here after I got my paddleboard and was privy to the Warren Center and was just basically always on Ashland Reservoir the summer days. Once I kind of just became like my go-to spot, and then I found my job at the Warren Center. Thought that would work out pretty good, and yeah, it's a nice area. But I am originally born on Martha's Vineyard, and then my folks moved back to Southborough area, then Framingham, and then I had done a little moving around myself and spent some time in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I lived up there and was on a whole cooking craze for about 10-15 years, where I was just working in French restaurants and kind of trying to practice my craft there and hone all my skills. But okay, so we are at Ashland Reservoir. We're gonna do, I think I can put 2 tires in here. Give you a little view of the lake here. Well, the reservoir. So we got. So we got a lot of slush in there. Wow, kind of crazy. The way it's just whipping up. Some almost white caps coming through here as it washes up a little line of slush there. But once again, we are down at Ashland Reservoir at the boat ramp, taking a look, going over a little bit of my history, what we're working on, current events, music, new videos, what we're looking at next, all the above. If you're tuning in, thank you. Couldn't fly today, so I took you for a live ride along. And if you want to check out how the roads look in downtown Ashland, check the beginning of the broadcast. We'll leave this up. Again, this is a test. This is the task at hand for right now. I want to see what this broadcasting service can do. It's just been added to my amenity list that YouTube has offered to me. It's not always there. It pops up after subscription levels go up enough. It's a couple hundred, I don't know, 3 or 4, but we made it. And I could have done it without you, so I really appreciate all your support through this, on this channel. Every ridge we've crossed, every path we've taken, everything we've flown over, it's been a pleasure. And I look forward to keeping that going. All right, so coming around, we just passed the quarry area, aggregate. And we were just talking about the Valentine building, the Valentine estate. 3 visits there. The last video that has come out on the channel entitled Inside the Barn is from the barn at the Valentine estate. That was kind of the 3rd visit after the part 2. I was invited again to come back, and I met with Michael Herbert, the town manager, and I also met with the building commissioner. He opened up the doors, we flew the drone in, it was pretty cool. So we're on Olive now, all right? Ashland's doing a great job, even these rural roads a little further out on the skirts here are looking great. And right when I say that, there's a bunch of snow in the middle of the road, but usually that's a lot of the snow that falls from these trees, but you know they'll be back. But yeah, the snow has picked up again. Snow, precipitation, and all rain and sleet today, kind of a mix of everything. But no matter what, last time I checked, it should be tapering off by 5 tonight, so, or basically wrapped up by then, but who knows what we're gonna get in between. This could come off and on as the day goes. Car driving isn't too bad, but just gotta go easy on the turns. So, testing the live broadcast today. I am with you. You're in my car. We are driving in Ashland. We are going to be approaching the Valentine estate. Okay, so you always want to stop a little before the stop sign. The Valentine estate is kind of perfect for what it's going to become, because if you think about where the history comes from, Franny Valentine, this is exactly what she would have wanted. She might have not been occupying that property specifically, but she was across the street overseeing it, had every hand in there to help people in the community, especially women. So when this whole thing comes to fruition, I think it's really going to be a slam dunk, because when you drive by years from now and we have some activity going there, I think that's when it's really going to hit home. And hopefully, as I just said, she would approve. And a little bit more about how she's coming from is, you know, this woman her family had like sold off most of their property, and then somehow she had made her way back to Ashland and purchased. So if you've ever had a house and you love it, and you say, you know, one day I am going to come back here, and I've said that a million times. We've got a place down on the Cape and on Martha's Vineyard that we love to go, and I always say if we could get back there, I'd buy it up. But you know, that's what she did. She came back here, and her story in between is pretty cool. You know, she served, wasn't in the military, but she was doing work for the Red Cross in Europe, and at the time, Allies hadn't made it yet there to, you know, assist, you know, not only, you know, defensively, but in, you know, anything that they could have done in a humanitarian way was done long before the troops had reached these towns in France, and the location that she was in, she was literally bringing water to people, like rescuing them, bringing them back and forth I mean, this was during like live fire that was you know, exchanging that was going on. So it was pretty much a battle scene, you know, or a war zone. And she made it through that and back to Ashland, you know, and then the work that she did while she was back here was pretty interesting too. A lot of the big names in Ashland always bring a lot of jobs, and especially Henry Warren, and you know, the historical value of everything that he has offered to the town, not only an industrial revolution of the electric clock, but the jobs, the growth, the economy, the lifestyle that he, you know, afforded for, you know, so many people, and himself, was similar, very similar, to Frances Valentine in my eyes, because her experience with the canning industry and agriculture created jobs, and I think she was even involved in training. You know, so it's very hands-on when you look at it from start to finish. So we got to keep it hands-on for her, for that history, and we got to keep the ball rolling. And I think that's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. So back to Pelt Rock here. We're just crossing back over Cold Spring Brook. Cold Spring Brook runs from Ashland Reservoir and further up through the reservoir, down over the dam, spillway, and it runs through this kind of marsh area, and then kind of is adjacently approaching downtown Ashland, but then kind of makes a few swings as it joins up with the Sudbury River. But it was a big landmark for early settlers, and most of the old Connecticut Path Trail was outlined by keeping a route that was not in the water or too high, kind of avoided the waterways and cliffs and gullies, and it kind of just hugged everything. So It's kind of interesting how you can kind of draw a line in a lot of these places. They're right on that old trail. Even if you think about it to some degree, Ashland Reservoir, Pelt Rock, the Devil's Den. There's more, but just some of the big ones. So anyhow, we are making our way down towards Telecron building, approaching Union Street. So, a live ride along today, just a recap. We went over a few things, where we've been recently, we went over some music, we just went over some history with the Valentine building, Valentine estate, and why those connections are so great to make, and how we need to see that through. But as we continue down here, another venue we've been to quite a few times is the public safety building. Got the flag out front, waving, all buttoned up in there. I don't know, still looks like there's some plastic. We need an update on that soon. What's moving day? Okay, so we're coming down here. We're gonna be passing Ashland High School. Roads they're all right. I mean, they're not great. Let's not sugarcoat it. Four-wheel drive, yeah, you're all right. Front-wheel drive sedan, I don't know. So thanks for joining me on this little ride along here. Coming back to my neck of the woods. We just did a recap. If you want to see downtown Ashland and what that looks like, just minutes before, minutes after we started this live test broadcast for the live ride along. Check that out for sure. Beware of the plow drivers. Just get a little jumping around. They're trying to get from place to place today. Probably not stack up as much as could have, but definitely heard the plows coming around this morning. And I think we'll just finish this with, okay, we're gonna go down Pond Street and we're just gonna look at that, and we'll close it out. We'll end it on a high note. We're coming up. We're dipping over into Framingham for a second here. We're coming up behind Lake Washakum. A whole lot of history there too, folks. So hard to cover it all at the same time. I try to get it bit by bit as I go. As close as I came over there to some history was probably Beaver Dam Brook. Beaver Dam Brook is in the beginning of the story of one of the first settlers that comes out here to Framingham, and they had passed that area out at Beaver Dam Brook, which is basically parallel to Pond Street, and that water, before we started damming it up and messing around with it, it was all kind of connected. Everything could kind of swim around, all the eel, the fish. This place was just a bountiful hunting area that the Nipmuc would be coming from a little further away to hunt these areas. But they were left some eel. The first settlers near Lake, they were approaching the area of Lake Washaycum, but it was actually closer to Beaver Dam Brook there, and they, they had noted that, but they were left some eel, and the Native Americans, it was kind of like a delicacy to them, and they didn't know what to think about it, because I don't think that was on the top of their menu as a settler, to be eating the eel. But what can you say? But apparently it was pretty good. It was a delicacy to the Native Americans for sure. And I do recall someone telling me there used to be eel in Farm Pond, over in Framingham, back when we first moved back to the area. Can't tell if she's trying to cross or not. All right. So we're gonna just jet over into the corner of South Framingham for just a second, and we're gonna be hooking up to Pond Street, just to look over Pond Street. And then we covered some, I think we did, we got to downtown, we went down to the reservoir, we were up at Chestnut, we were in the Warren historical area, we passed Union Street and the safety building, we were back at the MBTA station, we passed the Valentine estate, we talked about that, but this is just a little live broadcast test of the YouTube live mobile that they are offering me right now. So we're testing that out, and hopefully we're gonna have more to come. So yeah, we're on Pond Street, everything's looking good. And yeah, it looks like when we started this broadcast, roads were a little rougher, but a lot of this is just melting now when it hits the road. The roads are treated, the roads are paved. Obviously they're paved, but the roads have been treated, so a lot of this is just gonna run right off. Another development here we're looking at across from Sunnyside Liquors here in Ashland. Came out wicked far, right? All right, so we're coming down, and we're at Market Basket. A lot more buttoning up to do here with a lot of these, where they had to cut in on the road. Every bump that I'm hitting is another spot that they cut in, but it's pretty smooth. Just got a new board. It's an electric board. It's like a long board, but it's electric powered. So I'm looking forward to coming down Pond Street, and I'm going to share one of those ride-alongs with you in the spring. We'll do a little first-person Pond Street length. I'll be wired up with a mic, so I'll have it blocked from the wind, and we'll come down Pond Street and see what it's like when those neon leaves start popping out. Can't wait for spring to arrive. We're gonna get roughed up a little at the end here, but I think we're gonna be all right. A couple inches here, an inch there. Definitely nice to look at. Pond Street, man, I mean, it just seems wider, it seems bigger, it's great. If you're on a bike, it didn't seem like there's gonna be more room to kind of push over, because you don't want to be riding a bike really fast on a sidewalk, but it looks like there'll be enough room to share. All Alright, passing the golden. You know what? Leave that one out. Got some good advice from this gentleman one day. Manucci Auto Body, right before I bought my condo here. Got a quote there for some work. And on a whim, he said, I got a condo when I moved to Ashland. Everything was really good after that. And then somehow that kind of happened to me somehow. Literally like weeks after talking to the guy. Of course, there was work that I had to do for that, but in hindsight, it's kind of funny how life happens, and you never know. You just never know. And there's never a dull moment, right? So we got the Bombardier here coming down the right side of the road. Just a quick recap here. This is just a live test of the broadcast service of YouTube Mobile, a new feature that's been offered to me. Bombardier is looking great. Thank you, sir. Perfect clearance. We got another town vehicle ahead of us. Probably out for the rest of the day. Not sure. No, they're not going into my neighborhood. Are they going into my neighborhood? Wow. Okay. See, I never knew. I didn't think they really plowed in Mountain Gate, but we'll see what happens. Oh, I think they just do the opening. Well, anyway, we'll get to check this out. So we're checking out the plowing at Elliott Street in Mountain Gate. And I appreciate you joining me for this broadcast, a little ride along in the snow. My name's Jason Hipson. This is jayhipsocean, the channel, drone tours. We do history. We do nature, animals, all of it. We try to give you a little taste of everything that's going on around me. And I'm coming back home. It's good to be home. And thank you for joining me and coming along for this little ride. We couldn't fly today, but I wanted to still give you a little bit of information, keep the dialogue going, and give you a little look around Ashland. So if you want to pop back on later, if you see this, you know, you could get a little look at the road, have a ride along with me for a few minutes. I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe out there. Cheers, take care, and have a great day.